the value that LinkedIn's created thus far to date is largely oriented around what we call the professional graph, which maps the world's professional connections up to 3 degrees. We want to digitally represent every economic opportunity in the world, full-time and part-time.
What's a job?
A job, for example. People may not realize this. We have north of 3 million active company profiles on LinkedIn. We're fast approaching 250 million members. So there's a lot of work that's already been done to lay the foundation to make this a reality.
And what's the next step?
Continue to scale it. Continue to scale it. Continue to invest in every one of those dimensions. You know, we've been talking about professional knowledge, so continuing to improve our homepage experience, which is now generating billions of updates on a weekly basis, each of which is customized for the individual member based on who they are, their skills, their ambitions, their connections, their industries, et cetera.
What do you see LinkedIn, your influencer program and your whole constellation of content properties, what's the end goal for that?
You know, historically, there were some people that would have said LinkedIn is a Rolodex or it's a way to get a job. And with the launch of influencers and people like Richard Branson now being followed by well north of 2 million of our members, sharing information about how to become an entrepreneur and how he built his company. And he's not alone. Jack Welch and the President of the United States, et cetera.
Tell me a little bit more about what's happening with work these days. I mean, you guys seem to have benefited quite a bit from the recession in the sense that people without work are suddenly needing to get their resumes spruced up and they're trying to go out and find new jobs. And so LinkedIn has become a natural way for them to do that. What are the sorts of trends that you're seeing right now in the workplace?
One of the most important dynamics that we track is the skills gap and the widening skills gap. A lot of people don't realize with unemployment where it is in this country, roughly 7.5%, and while it's improving, still higher than we'd like it to be, there's over 3.8 million available jobs today in the United States. And one of the things that's happened is opportunities are being created by virtue of, for example, new technologies. But the technology is evolving so rapidly, it's challenging to train people to keep up with the new opportunities being created.
Right now there are a few bright spots in technology, but there's still massive losses in a lot of areas. How do you see this evolving over the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, you're building your business around that evolution.
Yeah, I think there's at least 3 things we need to be investing in. First is education. And it's not just primary school educational reform, which I think is going to take at least a generation to improve and make sure we don't have an antiquated system that's continuing to prepare kids for the jobs that once were as opposed to the jobs that will be, but leveraging new technologies and recognizing there are new skills that are necessary. But also with regard to education, would love to see greater focus on vocational training. There's jobs that exist today, and if we can do a better job of making sure that the current workforce is better trained to take the jobs that exist. They're not just in technology. There's a lot of retail jobs that have been added over the last several years. And if we can do a better job with vocational training and make sure that we're not just innovating when it comes to higher education, but vocational training as well, I think that could have immediate term impact. I think immigration reform is absolutely critical. There are people that were born outside of this country that have the unique skills to take the jobs that are available in this country that are going unfilled. The bar for allowing people born outside of this country to work inside this country are just too high. And I always recall a statistic that you might have heard by now, but 40% of the Fortune 500 was founded by immigrants or the children of immigrants. And these are the companies that are creating economic opportunities. So it's absolutely essential. And then the third area is just continuing to invest in digital infrastructure to make it far easier for people to access the information they need to develop the training to obtain these opportunities going forward.
We're seeing all these sites like GitHub pop up now or over the last years, where people are doing their work online, they're sharing their work online, and they're hiring and firing each other based on their work online. How do you see yourselves fitting into that sort of world where more and more people are just living their resume?
Yeah, we refer to that dynamic as inferred identity, where you're not necessarily listing your experiences, but you're showcasing your work, whether it's the code that you've written or a portfolio of your artistry. And one of the things we're doing along those lines is starting to evolve the profile experience on LinkedIn. So it's not traditional text-based like a resume, but it's really like a portfolio. And so you get a chance to showcase various information, the stories that you've written, the photographs that you've taken, photographs of the work that you've done, down the road code, today patents that you've generated. And we want to provide as much flexibility as possible for professionals of any background to be able to showcase their identity.